I was driving down, I drive into the Lincoln Tunnel in the morning, cursing and screaming, spilling my coffee, I'm a mess in the morning, I'm driving in like that. But then when I hit the helix going into the tunnel, and you look out and you see the New York skyline. I think that's the only view of New York that I know. But anyway, you'll see it, and it is beautiful when you're looking at it, you know. But I'm driving and I'm going down looking like that, you know, wondering if I'm going to hit the guy in front of me, and I'm looking at it. Now if you think about it, in slow motion, right, I look away, I look away. I'm seeing one snapshot, two snapshots, you know. Now, of course, what I remember when I'm talking about now, and even when I'm sitting in the car, I'm not seeing snapshot, snapshot, snapshot. I still see, as my head turns, that New York skyline with the Empire State Building and the other building over there. I always see two big holes now where the World Trade Center used to be. I used to always see that. So I have this one image, even though my eyes are taking little snapshots all along. How does it go together? Now, Helmholtz says unconscious inference. Your mind puts it together. The Gestaltists tried to push that a little bit further and understand what was going together that makes it go together. Part of their answer was that it's the form of what you're perceiving that makes it come together. The word Gestalt means form, or another translation is it means that the whole form is greater than the sum of its parts. And the way this was discovered, it was first mentioned by this guy named von Herrenfeld, who was a philosopher, and noticed that if you whistle a tune, and you whistle it real high, like there's, you know, I don't know what, Ring Around the Rosie, and then you whistle it real low, or let's say they play it on a piccolo and a tuba, right? Two very different sounds coming out of those instruments, right? But regardless of the difference, the organization of the notes for Ring Around the Rosie is going to sound the same. You'll be able to recognize it, whether it's on a piccolo or a harmonica or a tuba. So that it's not just in the notes themselves, but in the organization of notes that keeps them together. And it was von Herrenfeld who first used the term Gestalt, or used it in this psychological sense, as form. It's the form that's greater than the sum of its parts that really becomes important. Now, the three guys who put them on the map, and the three Gestalt psychologists, are Max Wertheimer. They have pictures, this is a new edition of the book, pictures of Max Wertheimer. Kurt Kafka, not Franz Kafka, he's the storyteller who talks about people turning into roaches. This is Kurt Kafka. And Wolfgang Köhler. You know, I love the name Wolfgang, just scary to hear. They must have called him Wolfie when he was young, I guess. But he is a scary looking guy. He's pretty domineering. Wertheimer first noticed this on a train, right? Like, I'm driving to work. He's sitting on a train and he's wondering if Einstein was around at this time, talking about light and traveling. And he's saying, my house, if you're on a train and you're moving, and what I see is dependent on the light coming into my eye, why don't I see a blur, right? Train's moving, light's coming in, I should see a blur. I don't. I see a farm and a cow. What's happening? He gets off the train and he comes up with a little experiment that he pretty much ripped off from the film industry, because film was becoming popular. And what happens when you see a film is you get a lot of individual snapshots that are placed one next to the other. You've probably seen this already. And, or you know what else? Did you ever, when you're in school and you're not paying attention and you're not bold enough to fall asleep in class, you can draw a little picture on each page of your book. And then you thumb it up and it goes past. If you thumb it quick enough, you don't see picture after picture. You see this little cartoon character running. I used to draw people throwing a football to one another because I used to like to play football when I was in grade school, right? So and the film does the same thing. Different individual photographs put together on one piece of film. If you move it slowly, you see picture, click, picture, click, picture, click. If you move it fast, you see one continuous movement, and you see George Clooney kissing people on the stage, or whatever the case may be. Max Wertheimer gets off the train, gets a stroboscopic light that alternates flickering. And he gets people in a dark room. Actually, he really first started with his other two friends, Kafka and Köhler. And they're looking at this, and if you flicker it slow, you see two lights flickering. If you flicker it quick, if you get to the critical flicker frequency, try saying that, critical flicker frequency. You don't see two lights flickering, you see one light moving. If you go to the airport and you look at the runway at night, you'll see a light running down the runway. It's not running, lights don't run, they've just got a series of lights that are flashing in sequence, and they do it fast enough, and you see it looks like lights are running down there. That's known as the apparent motion experiment. It was the first one that the Gestalt psychologists did to kind of say, we've got something here. It's also known as the Phi phenomenon, P-H-I. But the Gestalt psychologists went off and did a whole lot of studies looking at how this whole thing kind of comes together. Like there was one named Kurt Lewin, and he noticed that the way people are by themselves, if you put them in a group, they don't act the same way. In fact, as a group, we often act quite stupid, you know? And if you know you're in a group, it's in a different psychology than if you're talking about an individual. So that the whole organization of the group is different than the way psychology would function if you just deal with one individual. A lot of the Gestalt psychologists, the ones in your book, did perceptual experiments. One of the things they know, now the way they saw this was that they thought the nervous system was structured so that it would do that. That when the lights are firing out there, the neurons are firing in here, and that you're actually experiencing not two lights flickering, but one light moving. One of the things they did after they got people to see the light move, he said, close your eyes and tell me what you see in an after image. Well, if the after image is just determined by what's really out there, you should see, even if you said I see movement, you should see two lights flickering because that's what really was there. People say, I still see movement. So it's like the movement is not just out in the lights, it comes in the sensory system, and that becomes what your brain reacts to, and that causes you to see movement. Another famous thing they talked about, mentioned in the book, is figure-ground relationship. Remember that right there, it's flat. Why do we see space? Why do we see things going off in the distance? It's not in the light, it's in our sensory system. But our brain must have an organization where when we look at something, something will always come out and something will always go back. In there's a drawing. Oh, it looks like this. That's pretty good. And then another one. Right? Somewhere in the back of the book. And you look at that. Now, you know, the truth is, the noumena, the truth, chalk on a board. That's what's really there. So don't be fooled, right? But if you look at it, and again, if it was drawn a little better, some people might say, looks like a vase, right? A little flower right around there. Look at it again, without the decorations, and some people might say, two faces, right? The faces aren't there, the vase isn't there, it's chalk on a board, but your eye, when you see the vase, you take the center and move it out, and this goes backwards. When you see the faces, this comes out, and that goes backwards, okay? That's in your eye, not on the board, just in case you were fooled. Just thinking magic tricks, okay? That's the kind of thing they're looking at. The organization determines the organization, which has an impact on the sensory system, which affects the nervous system, results in literally what you see. It's that organization that's there. They have other diagrams in there. They're filled with a lot of cute little pictures of what you see. Okay, I think that's it. Is there somebody else back there? I think Gestalt is the last one we talk about. But the big one to come after the vacation, and that, I promise you, we'll be talking about psychology, even though you still won't recognize it, is Wundt. He's the one who picks up on Helmholtz and Fechner and takes it into psychology. Now, the other thing you should notice while you're reading this over the break, and also, by the way, read ahead. Don't wait for me to talk about it. Read into the one chapter. But, you know, notice where psychology is. We still haven't talked about crazy people yet, right? They haven't come into the picture. And the motivation for psychology is coming from philosophy, physics, and physiology. And the questions are much more academic. So again, if you're in other classes and you're wondering why am I bored with psychology, chances are you probably wanted social work, not psychology. Psychology is interested in how the mind relates to the world around it, not whether or not alcoholism is a bad. You know this. Okay, go home, have a good vacation, do something fun. I'm going to just get that. See you later.